Hello everyone, this is Open Day at the Doctoral School at WUST. My name is Szymon Baczyński. I'm the head of music editorial and programming on Radio Luz here at WUST's Radio Luz, and hope you will check what we've got for you on 91.6 FM. But today I'm proud to be hosting the meeting that hopefully will answer all questions you might have regarding doctoral school, the admission rules, the interview format, and just all the important facts that should be useful for someone at least a bit interested in the third degree studies and reaching the PhD in technical sciences. So now I'd like to introduce to you our experts in the field who are the representatives of the doctoral school who will of course, share some most important information, their knowledge and experience regarding PhD studies and the recruitment process. And one of them is, of course, the Dean of the Doctoral School at WUST, is Mr. Professor Krzysztof Walkowiak. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Professor Agnieszka Wyłomańska, Vice Dean for Doctoral Students. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And Arif Eftekhar Ahmed, our PhD student from Bangladesh, specializing in environmental engineering. Good afternoon, Arif. Nice to see you with us.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Arif is currently in the second year of his environmental engineering, mining and energy PhD program, and where he deals with techniques for removing various contaminants from wastewater. But today he will share his experiences with us, but more likely we're gonna hear about his general thoughts of on third degree studies here at WUST. So as a young researcher currently pursuing his PhD at the doctoral school, he will surely help us draw a bigger picture here. So I already have a number of questions for all the guests of our meeting, but later on we will also answer your questions, dear participants. You're able to ask them in the chat room on our YouTube Live. And if some questions will already be answered during our presentation, then we'll let you know what part of the meeting might interest you the most. So now it's time to look closer at our topic. So please let me start with a general question to Professor Walkowiak, who is hopefully going to introduce the implementation and what is the implementation of a doctorate at the doctoral school. What is the difference between educating PhD students at the doctoral school and during doctoral studies?
Okay, so I'm the Dean of Doctoral School and I will start to talk about doctoral school. So first I must tell you about the Polish law, because universities in Poland are regulated by national law. So in 2018, a new law for universities was introduced in Poland. And one of the key changes in the law was introduction of doctoral schools as a new way of educating PhD students. The previous system, called doctoral studies, were used for about 20 years. And probably if you are interested in PhD in Poland, maybe you have heard something about the previous system. So first I want to compare these two systems. So the previous one, the doctoral studies were organized at faculties. Currently we have 13 faculties, and usually they were focused on one or very few disciplines. The doctoral school, we have one doctoral school in our university, which was started in October 2019. And the school is interdisciplinary. So it means that we cover 12 scientific disciplines in which we have the right as university to award the PhD degree. Because again, according to the Polish law, the PhDs are awarded in a particular discipline. So the list of disciplines is available on our webpage, just very shortly. So most of the disciplines are oriented to technical sciences. So we have computer science, electronics, different types of engineering like biomedical engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, and many others. Also, we have some basic sciences like mathematics, physics, and chemistry. Finally, we also offer PhD education in management and quality studies. And coming back to the differences between these two systems, I mean, doctoral studies and doctoral school, the new one. So the key two differences, very important for foreigners that want to make PhD in our university, as follows. So first, now every PhD student in doctoral school received the scholarship. While in the previous system, the foreigners were not provided with the scholarship. Second, Now, there is no any fee for studying at doctoral school, so it is free of charge. And again, in the old system, there was a fee. At our university, it was about 4,000 euro per year. Yes? So now the situation improved a lot for candidates from abroad Poland, and we are very open for foreign PhD students. We could observe this in the first two recruitment processes. So the first recruitment process was in 2019. We had about 20 candidates from abroad. Last year, they were about 120. So the increase was very, very huge. And we hope that also this year we'll have many candidates from abroad. So coming back to the implementation of doctorate. So in general, these two systems, I mean, doctoral school and doctoral studies have exactly the same goal, which is to prepare the PhD student to write and then defend the PhD thesis. And in general, it looks very similar in many countries around the world. But if we are going into details, there are also some differences. So according to Polish law, in doctoral school, we have defined two important milestones in the education process. So the first one is individual research plan that is to be submitted after 12 months of studying. And next, after 2 years of studying, there is so-called midterm evaluation. That is a very important milestone. I think that I hope that during our talk also we will explain more details. So the whole education, the doctoral school, takes 4 years on default, and during the 4 years, the PhD students are provided with the scholarship. The scholarship is about 2,100 zlotych during the first 2 years, and next it increases by about 50% after the midterm evaluation. In general, the education in doctoral school can be prolonged by 2 additional years. The education is finished when the PhD student submits the doctoral dissertation. Okay, I'm checking my notes. I think that the most important topics I already covered, so thank you.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And we are very happy to already have the first question from our participants, which is from Abdul. But I think it's the one that we're going to cover later on in the process in our meeting, maybe after we go through the whole recruitment process and all the information for like most interesting for candidates. And then talking about the process of the studies, the doctoral dissertation, because this is the field that interests Abdul the most, we're going to cover later on. And now having Arif here, our PhD student, I'd like to ask him, why is it worth pursuing a doctorate at the Doctoral School of Wrocław University of Science and Technology? Could you tell us from your perspective, Arif?
Of course, I will try to explain. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Actually, I think that our university has a very good world ranking position. It's like near about 650 to 700. And for that reason, I think this is one of the topmost university for doing PhD for Polish and also foreign students. Our university has a very good scopes for research and also good laboratories. Our teachers are very expert in their field, and also nowadays PhD school providing us many opportunities for our research for Polish and foreign students as well. As by considering all those facts, I think this is a best place for doing PhD, and I also believe that I have taken my best decision to choose Politechnika Wrocławska to do my PhD from here.
Fantastic, thank you, Arif. Thank you very much, and we're going to ask you a lot more questions later on. But now about the recruitment process, one more question to Professor Walkowiak, which is, what are the admission rules for the doctoral school? So let's talk about the rules for now, for some time. How should one prepare for recruitment, and what documents are needed for recruitment? What are the recruitment deadlines?
Okay, so the recruitment rules is an official document of the university that it was accepted in December last year by the University Senate. And as I said before, we offer these 12 disciplines. And the recruitment process also is held in the disciplines. So first of all, the rector of the university decided that this year, the number of scholarships provided by the university will be 170. 5 of the scholarships are left for the rector for future decisions. The rest, 165 places in the doctoral school, are divided to the disciplines. And the number assigned to a particular discipline mostly depends on the size of the disciplines at our university. So the details can be checked on our website. So in each discipline, there's a separate competition. And finally, we are making a ranking list. I will say some more details in a minute. And having the ranking list, because every PhD candidate is evaluated and assigned with some score. And next, during using this ranking list, we can select the best candidates that are accepted to doctoral school. But of course, we must observe the limit that is assigned to this discipline. Moreover, each candidate must obtain at least 50% of the possible number of points. And what are the more details about the recruitment process? Yes, so we try to evaluate the quality of the candidate, because we must remember that making PhD is mostly research in different disciplines. So the recruitment process is made by a committee that consists of several professors from this discipline, and they evaluate different documents provided by the candidate, as well as also they evaluate the candidate during the interview. And finally, they want to select the best candidates that have the promise to make a good PhD. So what documents we require? Again, more details are on the website, and also will be available in our web system for recruitment, which will be started in half of May. So the required documents: CV, as usual. Please write in the CV these elements that are important from the perspective of making PhD. Second, we need your diploma. This diploma is evaluated and checked to verify it fulfills Polish requirements. Yes, so we need some extra time. We have a specialist that checks this, because not every university, graduate of every university has the right to make PhD in our university according to Polish law. Also, one of the recruitment criteria is our grades. Yes, so we ask for a transcript of records with the CPGA, cumulative grade point average, yes, because it is used in the evaluation. We also want to check your experience in making research, yes, so we require so-called characteristics of scientific activity and scientific achievements. In this document, you should provide the list of publications you already published, the conferences you attended, maybe you participated in some research grants, or many other activities you were involved in before that could be important during the evaluation process. Also, we require that the candidates have the command of English language on the level B2. So in many cases, the proof of this is just your diploma or transcript of the records, or also you can provide a special certificate like British Council. Moreover, it is required to provide description of the initial concept of the doctoral dissertation. Yes, so together with your supervisor or candidate for the supervisor, you should prepare a proposal of the PhD. It is not required to be very long. It is about at most 2 pages, but using this document, we also verify what is the idea. Is the idea fits to the discipline you are applying, or is this a very interesting topic, or maybe not so interesting? What about the deadlines? Yes, so as I said before, the system for recruitment will be open May 18, and the deadline for submitting all this document is June 10th. Next, from June 24 to July 12, there will be interviews. So in your case, of course, the interviews are in English and they are online. Last year, the whole recruitment process due to COVID was made online, so it was made in a very, very good way. The interview is with the committee, as I said before, yes? So the details about the schedule of the interviews will be provided on our webpage. And also, for instance, in my discipline, computer science, last year, we are trying also to adjust people from other time zones to organize the online meeting. The results will be available in the end of July. They are not the final results because we are still waiting in some cases for diploma. But if you are on the ranking list above the threshold, it means that you will be accepted to the doctoral school. So in this moment, we issue for you a preconditional acceptance letter. And with this letter, you can apply for Polish visa in the embassy in the country you are living. we are aware of the fact that it can take a lot of time. So especially now during COVID, it is quite troublesome. So if you notice that the process of obtaining visa takes a long time, it is possible to prolong the start of the PhD of the doctoral school from October to the February, March next year. Yes, so we can start the doctoral school from the summer semester. You must inform about us, and using this trick, you gain a few more months to obtain the Polish visa and the possibility to come to Poland. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that makes a good number of initial information that should be useful for any candidate interested in the third degree studies. But you also, Mr. Professor, you mentioned the initial concept of the doctoral dissertation. This is one of the questions that we've just received from Abdul, I mentioned before. So just in case you'd like to carry on with the topic, maybe in a minute, once we ask the Professor Wyłomańska about the supervisor and some other parts of the recruitment process, maybe I hope we're gonna answer any question that Abdul might have regarding this. So number of questions to Professor Wyłomańska now. The first one would be about the aspects that are assessed during the recruitment interview. What are these aspects? How does the recruitment interview look like?
Okay, so as Professor Walkowiak said, there are a few elements that are important during the recruitment process, and one of the aspects is the interview. So of course, depending on the discipline, the interview can look a little bit different, but in general, there are few, let's say, common things. So the first thing is the short presentation that candidate should present. During the presentation, he or she presents some achievements obtained during the master thesis, or maybe during some publication, because some candidates also working on some research as well. So this is the presentation. After that, of course, there is a discussion related to the presentations. For instance, in my discipline, I'm from mathematics, so we have also small exams. So we want to know if the candidate have some basic information, some basic knowledge from mathematics. So this is especially for my discipline very important. And also there is aspect that is related to the future work. So as Professor Walkowiak said, so during the recruitment process, we also require some description of the initial concept of the doctoral dissertation. So we are asking about this aspect as well. So what this person wants to do, what are the plans for the research. So this is more or less the interview. But as I said, depending on the discipline, we can have a little bit different elements.
All right, Grant, then another one regarding the recruitment process is about the potential supervisor. I think that's the interesting part for many of the abroad students that are, they just don't know if they're gonna find a supervisor yet, so how they should solve the problem. Having him just, you know, because they should have one in the recruitment process. So the question is, does the candidate have to have a potential supervisor to be admitted to the doctoral school?
Yes, according to the new rules, so the candidate should have the potential supervisor. Of course, after he or she starts the study, the supervisor will be confirmed by the discipline, but at the beginning, we should have a potential supervisor. And the person who is candidate for the supervisor can be just a supervisor of the master thesis if you are studying here, or you can find a supervisor, for instance, by using our base. We have a supervisor base that is available on our webpage, and you can find a supervisor with respect to the keywords. For instance, you are interested in machine learning techniques, so you are going to this base and write this keyword, and you can find all people from our university that are interested in this topic. And then in the base, you can find the more details if you are going to the record related to given person. So once again, so it is very important to find this person before you want to think about the PhD. at our university, because with this person you should prepare the description of the initial concept of the research. So this is important to work on this together.
Okay, so this is how to find a supervisor from your perspective, but now the whole recruitment process from the perspective of the PhD student might be interesting as well. That's why we have Arif here with us. He's still there. So what does the recruitment process look like how did it look like from your perspective? Once you started the doctoral studies, which elements you think were most difficult?
Thank you for asking me these questions. Actually, according to my opinion, I think that our recruitment committee who recruits a student for their PhD studies are very fair. And usually they try to find a person who has a very good motivation to complete his PhD. Because PhD is very important to have motivation during PhD studies. And they try to find that the student is capable enough to conduct research, as well as he or she is capable enough to deal with the everything, so studies and his or her research work. So CGPA, then some research background, and also some ideas about how to do PhD, about which topic, and also knowledge of English, and also the previous grades. These all factors, I think, they consider during their recruitment process. And if a student has these kinds of quality, I think this is not going to be very hard for them to be recruited in Polytechnica as a future PhD student. So in my opinion, the recruitment process is not difficult. It's very fair, but it's always tries to find the talents one for PhD studies.
Yeah, thank you, Arif. As far as I know, you've graduated from the second degree studies here at WUST. So how would you say if the getting a supervisor was hard or easy from your perspective? And do you think it might be a bit harder for someone who's, coming from abroad just for the PhD studies?
Actually, to be honest, in my opinion, for example, if someone is studying here, then he or she will have a chance to work with supervisor during master's studies. So, for example, my supervisor is Professor Katarzyna Majewska-Nowak, and I worked with her during my master thesis. And when I was working with her, I found her very effective and very helpful for my studies. And then I decided that I will conduct my PhD under her supervision. So if someone is studying here, they will definitely have some advantages to talk with professors directly, to know about professors, and also at the same time, professors would be able to know about the quality of the students. So I think this is much better, but it's not exactly right that the people who are interested to come Poland from outside, they will also have a good option to find professors by searching our website and also searching our database, because in my opinion, the teachers in Polytechnica are very cooperative with the students. Usually if they find a good students, or if someone is asking them to be their supervisor, they usually check their quality, and of course they try to help them. So in my opinion, if a student is studying here, definitely he will be more advanced. I mean, he can make the communication much faster than doing it from outside of the Poland. But for recruitment, I think supervisors have kind mentality for all the students who are from inside of Polytechnica, I mean, Wrocław University of Science and Technology, and also from outside. But it's true that if someone is staying in here in Poland, definitely they will have a good chance to be selected and also to find a good supervisor, because they will be able to save their time for direct communication in Polytechnica.
Which is great to hear, I guess, for our candidates. So thank you very much, Arif. One more for Professor Wyłomańska about the curriculum. And what is the curriculum at the Doctoral School of WUST?
Okay, so according to new rules, we have also the new curriculum that will be important for candidates. So actually, for people who are I hope listen us. So in the new curriculum, we have few courses that are compulsory courses and also some additional courses. So let's just start with the courses that need to be taken. So the first group of courses is the recent research trends in the discipline. According to the name, so the students, PhD students, can learn here about the new achievements in the discipline. And this is dedicated only for the students in the discipline. However, the students from different disciplines also can take part in this course. So this is the first course. The second one is the research skills. So this course is dedicated for people, of course, for PhD students, but for people who are thinking about the research in the future. So here you can learn how to prepare the presentation, publication, and finally the dissertation, PhD dissertation, of course. So this is also very important course. And here we also teach how to prepare the grants. So how to prepare for that actually. Then we have the reporting seminar of the discipline. This is also very important course because in this course, all PhD students in the discipline should take part. So the PhD student can look what other students are doing, PhD students are doing, but also they have the chance to present his or her research. So this is important. The next course is the ethical and legal aspects of the scientific activity. This is humanities course. And we also have the important course which is called Higher Education Didactic Part 1. This is the compulsory course. And this is especially important for people who want to stay at the university, I mean, who want to be teachers. Okay, then we have also English language and 2 elective courses. And the compulsory courses should be finished during first 2 years of study in the doctoral school. So this is important. And as I said, we have also additional courses. So you can select elective courses, higher education didactic part 2, and also additional language. So this is the base for the curriculum.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, just to remind our participants that you still are able to ask the question in our chat room on the YouTube live stream of our meeting. They tend to be the most practical ones, and I think it's a good time to look at one, look closer at the question I've just received from our team, which is, I need 1 month to get visa. Can I start study 1 month later? Maybe this might be a tricky question to Professor Walkowiak.
Okay, so we had some situations the past year. So you should start October the 1st. Maybe we can wait a few days, not more. It follows from the regulations, also related to the fact that the scholarship is with some social tax and a lot of paperwork is needed. Yes, so if you cannot obtain the visa to come here in the end of September, as I said before, the second opportunity is to come, let's say in February, to start the education from March.
Okay, great. One more simple question this time to Arif. Maybe simple, but I think should be answered here on this meeting. If the school offer classes in English, this one's for Arif.
Yes, of course. PhD studies is completely conducted in English because our teachers and also our PhD school, I mean to say that the peoples who are working in PhD school all speaks in English. Our lectures, laboratories, and also our exams will be taken in English. And the report that we have to write, let's say Professor Walkowiak mentioned about the research plan and some additional documents which is needed. This will also be done in English. So to be honest, for doing PhD, there is no problem because everything is in English and they don't need to learn Polish. But if they want to make their stay in Poland much easier and much more smooth, then learning Polish is important. But this is not important for doing PhD studies. This is important for making their life much easier. And also the dissertation we will, I mean to say that we will do in our future is also be taken by English. So just having English B2 level is, I think, enough to be a PhD student here and to continue their studies.
Great. We've received one more question, and now I have two in the queue that are more likely about the, I think, economical issues, the job employment issues, and connecting it with the third degree studies at doctoral school. So maybe let's leave it for last, and now back to our program, which is one more question to Professor Walkowiak. What is an individual research plan and the midterm evaluation?
Okay, so as I said before, these two elements are very important. So they are the key milestones of the education process, and they are defined in the Polish law. So the individual research plan, it is required after 12 months of education. What this plan should include. So first of all, the topic of the PhD or the planned topic. So it is not required to be exactly the same as the title of the dissertation, which will be submitted after 4 years. The second element of the research plan should be the schedule of the research. So usually it is divided into semesters. So for instance, the first semester, the state-of-the-art related works. The second, preparation of the data and start of experiments and so on. Also, we require in this individual research plan the date, the planned date of submitting the research, the PhD dissertation. Currently, we are working on a new template of the research plan, and probably we'll add some new elements. For instance, we will require this related work section, also to explain the main research questions planned in the research. We want to ask about the research methods and other elements. Yes, so it is a novelty of the doctoral school. In the previous systems, we had something similar, but not so precise. And I think that is a very good idea because it is an incentive for PhD students to start working hard on the research, on the PhD, just from the beginning. After the next year, so in the half of the education process, after 2 years of education, there is this midterm evaluation. It is organized in front of a committee that consists of 3 persons. 2 of them are from our university, and it is required that one of the members is outside our university. So it's like, let's say, a little defense of the PhD. And this evaluation is to check the progress of implementation of this individual research plan. And the committee is, of course, from the discipline, so the specialists in the topic that covers the PhD. And the consequences of the midterm evaluation are very important. So the final result is positive or negative. What means positive result? So it means that the PhD student can continue the education, making the research. Moreover, the scholarship increases by about 50%. The negative results means that the PhD student is removed from the doctoral school. We will do the first edition of this midterm evaluation in November this year. So we are still learning the system and waiting how it works, but analyzing it, I think that is a very good idea. So after the midterm evaluation, if everything is going okay, as Professor Wyłomańska said, you already passed all courses, and then you just focus on the research. The research is made in faculties and departments, in the group, in the lab of your supervisor. And then after 4 years, it is required to submit the PhD dissertation, and the submitting of the dissertation finishes the doctoral school. Maybe this is a good moment also to tell you something about the procedure of awarding the PhD degree in Poland. So when you submit the PhD, then it is moved to the discipline council, because as I said before, we can award the degree in 12 disciplines, and for each discipline there is a separate council that consists of professors working on these topics. Then 3 reviewers are selected, and your dissertation goes to the reviewers. The reviewers have 2 months to prepare the review. At least 2 of the reviews must be positive. And the last step is just the defense. So from submitting to the defense usually takes 3 to 4 months. And there is a public defense, then there is a special committee meeting that decides, and finally you are awarded with the PhD degree. Thank you.
Great. As we are already in the diving deep in the whole process of completing the PhD studies. We have two questions. I think the similar ones were answered by Professor Walkowiak in our Polish part of this meeting 2 hours ago. So maybe this time this question should go to Professor Wyłomańska. And maybe you should tell me if they stand for something different, or they should be answered separately, or just put them together. So I'm gonna read both of them. One is it possible to survive in Wrocław with the PhD scholarship, or is it necessary to look for additional job? And then the second one is, am I bound to only work at the university like in the United States? Or am I allowed to also have an employment outside the university? So they both stand for employment and the university, and if we are able to connect them, or is it necessary to do them both at the same time? Please, Professor Wyłomańska.
Okay, according to the first question, so maybe the Arif should answer because it is related to money of the young people. So this was a question about the scholarship and if we can survive. So the initial scholarship is not very low, as it was said. However, I think we can survive with that, of course. So the young people can live together in some common flats, and I think you can survive. But most of the PhD students, from my perspective, as I observe, they have additional money from. So for instance, they are working somewhere, maybe not for full-time job, but for some part job, and they survive. And the second question is about if we can combine the PhD and working in some company. Of course, we can combine, so it is also possible. But as was said on the Polish part of our interview, it is not easy. This is not easy. If you are doing PhD, you should concentrate on the research. Yes, so you prepare some experiments. From my discipline perspective, you should work on some theorems. It takes time. If additionally you have a family or additional things to do in the life, so you have not much time for other things like work. And so from my perspective, you can work, of course, but it is very difficult to do different things. So one of the possibility actually is to combine the work at the university, but not as the academic teacher, but you can work in the research grants. So this is possible if you are a PhD student and you are also working the research grants. For instance, your supervisor has a grant and you can work in this grant. So it is, I think, a good solution to have more money and also do PhD.
You are very right to have said about the questions should be directed to Arif, and I will do, I promise. But for now, a number of questions to Arif we have scheduled. So maybe let's start with something that might seem quite easy to answer, but might be tricky, because I guess each day for a PhD student is completely different. And this is the question: what is the typical day for a PhD student at the doctoral school of WUST?
All right. In our university, I usually like to explain one of my typical day. That means from morning to evening, what I usually do. So in our university, all the students who are doing PhD, we have our place for sitting. I mean, it's like kind of our official place. That's where we sit. So first of all, I usually live in a dormitory. So after waking up, I come to my university, and of course, having my breakfast and doing the necessary works in my home, I come to university, and then either I go for my classes. The classes means in PhD school, we have to study some courses. That means these courses are for PhD students for their study. So I usually go there to attend my classes. And after finishing those classes, I usually go to my research lab to do some research, to do some experiments according to my research plan that Professor Walkowiak already mentioned 3-4 times about it. And also then after finishing some of my research that I have daily plan, what I will do in lab, which part I will do my research in lab. And after that, PhD students also have to take classes with students. So we have a number of hours that we have to complete within one academic year. So it means I have to take classes as a teacher, and usually PhD student takes classes with bachelor or master's student. And after doing all the activities, usually it comes from morning to evening, and if someone wants, they can also stay university up to evening in their private places where usually they sit, they work. I usually do the same thing. And after doing all the tasks that I have planned for a single day, I return home. This is like a regular and normal life, not for me, I think for all the PhD students in our university.
All right, thank you very much. Great. And you've mentioned the dormitory. And how about that? The accommodation arrangements of PhD students. Was the process of arranging it quite complicated, or how would you describe it?
Okay. Actually, we have a dormitory system for our PhD students. First of all, PhD students will get good places in dormitories, and there are few dormitories which are especially designed for PhD students. In my opinion, the cost of dormitory is not so much, I mean the rent. There was a question, I think someone asked that we should or we may be able to survive in Wrocław with the scholarship. So I will definitely say that yes, of course it is possible. And our university is not only giving us a scholarship, but there are lots of other projects and other scholarship opportunities. I think I will discuss about it later on, but now I am focusing on the dormitory because this is the direct questions. So we have lots of dormitories, I mean 5 or 6 in my opinion, which are usually designed for PhD students, and those dormitories are like well decorated, well secured, and that cost, like I mentioned, is not so much higher than staying outside. And also for those students who are married, let's say they have their husband or wife, even their kids, they also can apply for special dormitories which are usually only designed for couples. So I think I am living dormitories for a long time, and the life I really enjoy. This is very peaceful and very nice life in dormitories, also very safe. And this dormitories has all the modern facilities like internet connection, system of cooking, clean kitchen room, and also I have never felt any kinds of problem in dormitory.
Great.
That was about something from my perspective that I said for dormitories, like it's my own experience.
Yeah, great. I think you figured it out pretty well, the whole thing, the whole process. So one last for you, Arif. So maybe here you might include the surviving aspect of being a PhD student on WST, but more likely we'd like to hear from you about just how is life in Poland for you, like from your perspective and from perspective of any international student that came here from far away and now lives and studies and completing the PhD here at WST in Wrocław.
Actually, in Wrocław, in Poland, I think Wrocław is a very big city, and also Wrocław is a modern city. I mean to say that Wrocław has all the facilities like tram, autobus, and all kinds of modern facilities that a modern city has to be. And in Wrocław, I found that people usually speaks in English. If you go any shop, if you go any market, it does not mean that you must have to have Polish and no one speaks English. No, the situation is not like that. The situation is completely different, and people are very much expert. People has lots of expertise in English speaking, and you will find lots of English speakers. So language is not a problem. And also, if I compare about the rents and the living costs with other cities, I will say that yes, Wrocław has a very reasonable living cost, and with our scholarship, it is 100% possible to survive here. And also, Wrocław has a very good places for visit. You can enjoy your weekends, your holidays here, and people are also very friendly. Not only in our university, also I think Polish people are really very friendly to me, and I really enjoy my life here. So I think this is not should be my own opinion. If you just talk with other international students, I think you will find the same.
I think it's really nice to hear from you, for all of us and for all people who are feel as hosts for our international students at WUST. And then before we reach to the final question to Professor Walkowiak, of course, regarding the job prospects after completing the PhD, we have one more coming from our chat room. So I might direct this one to Professor Wyłomańska. And it says, do I need to publish a minimum number of papers annually?
If I properly understand the question, so this person is asking about publication during the PhD study. Yes, so during the PhD study, there is need to publish at least one publication before the defense. So yes, so the minimum is one. It can be, of course, the article in the journal. Of course, it can be a chapter in the book as well. Of course, there is no need to be only author of this publication. You can have the co-authors like supervisor or other people, but there is a minimum one publication.
And of course, it might be more than one publication, I guess.
Yeah, so more than less, then better, of course.
I would like to include here some few informations with Professor Wyłomańska. Like there are some controversy that we will be able to survive with our scholarship or not. So in this, regarding this case, I would like to say that in our university, in Wrocław University of Science and Technology, or Politechnika Wrocławska, the Polish name of our university. So we have lots of grants and also lots of opportunities to apply for a scholarship. Like I usually do the same thing. But if some of our students want to have a good amount of grants, or let's say if they want to apply for annual scholarship, or if they are interested to earn more money than the basic scholarship, then they must have to have good numbers of paper, because if they have good numbers of paper and very good research background, then they will be able to apply for different kinds of grants and also some other scholarships. So I suggest for the future PhD students that if you are interested to study in our university, during your PhD studies, try to publish as much paper as you can. This will be very helpful for your future.
Great to hear also. All right, then, as I've said, the final one to Professor Walkowiak, which is what are the job prospects after completing the PhD? I think the general and very important question and matter to all the candidates or people who are at least a bit interested in completing third degree studies here at WUST.
Okay, so this is exactly a very important question. So probably the most default way for our graduates is academia, so working in the university. And maybe one of the first selections will be our university. So preparing for our talk today, I just noticed a very nice and recent news that a person from our university, Yash Havla, just a few days ago received the award for the best foreign and doctoral student in Poland. So Yash is originally from India. He made PhD here in 2020. And after the PhD, he stays with us. So he is an assistant professor working on very interesting topics related to social media and COVID. So he is one of the examples that the number of foreigners working at the university is increasing year by year. So when you made a PhD here, maybe it will be possible to stay with us if you will be interesting. Another opportunity, and the same probably works also for other universities in Poland. We offer a lot of classes in English, so even if it is not required, then you speak Polish to work with us as academic teacher. The second possibility, if you enjoy Poland and Wrocław exactly, maybe you can try to find a job at the R&D sector in Wrocław. So this sector is developing very quickly. My research field is computer science and telecommunications. So, for instance, in this sector, we have about 30,000 jobs in Wrocław. We have a very big location of Nokia. It is about 4,000 people with a big R&D department that hires a lot of people with PhD, not only from computer science, but also from many other disciplines. And around in Wrocław and around in the region of Lower Silesia, we also have big industries like chemistry, mining, and many others. And this industry, they are also working on R&D. The next possibility is academia outside Poland. So you can apply for postdoc position around the world because the diploma from our university, the doctoral diploma, is recognized around the world. And the same works with R&D outside Poland. And maybe I will finish with my personal story. So 9 of my PhD students already finished the dissertation. And what are the statistics? So 5 of them are working with us at Wrocław Institute of Science and Technology. The next one works in an IT company in Wrocław. 3 other guys that are working in North America. So 1 at the University in the United States, the second at the University in Canada, and finally the last works in Silicon Valley in an IT company. Yes, so my personal experience is that we are making good job, and the people can apply for the job around the world. And in Poland, the situation for people with PhD, I think that is improving because the number of companies with R&D, also startups, is increasing. Yes, so the diploma is quite well recognized on the job market, and I think that many of you, if you decide to make the PhD, you are interested in the research, which is a very nice job from my perspective. Also, the teaching, maybe not all of you are interested in teaching, but after 22 years of working in university, I'm aware of the fact that teaching is also very nice experience. Yes, so the opportunities are quite interesting, quite broad. As Arif said, maybe I'm not very objective, but I think that Wrocław is one of the most interesting places in Poland and maybe in Europe. So it is a very vibrant city with very good economy and industry, but also with a lot of attractions in terms of the music and other activities. Yes, so I hope that if you come to Wrocław, you will enjoy the city and the university. Okay, thank you.
Great. We're coming to an end of our meeting, but we've just received 2 more questions. So one of them is something that is the matter that Professor Walkowiak just, I think, partly answered just a second ago, which is it possible for a foreigner to become a lecturer after completing a PhD at WUST? So maybe I'm going to direct it to Professor Walkowiak as well, if you'd like to clear up something about this matter.
Okay, so one very good example is just Yash Havla, I mentioned. So you can read something more about him on the webpage of our university. So he is now an academic teacher. And in the interview with him, he admits that his Polish command is not maybe very good, but it is enough to have English. Yes, so it is possible. However, maybe it is not so easy. Yes, so first of all, it can depend on the discipline. So according to my experience, in some disciplines, we have big lack of new lecturers. In others, there are many candidates, yes? And also it depends on the number of students that apply for the university. Another possibility to work at the university are research projects. So we have a bunch of research projects that are looking, for instance, for postdocs, yes? So in such a situation, you should control the announcements on the webpage of the university, also on the webpage of the agency that finances the basic sciences in Poland. Yes, so it is possible. We have many examples of this at our university. And also, I know many people from abroad work in other universities in Poland.
All right, and now I think for the final one, we have something that should maybe be answered by all of our guests. In a short answers. That makes yeah, as I said, a very nice sum up for our whole meeting, which is, what is the one piece of advice you would like to give to students who are considering to apply for PhD? So maybe let's start with Professor Wyłomańska.
Okay, so if you want to be with us, if you want to learn the whole life and develop yourself. So you should go to the Wrocław University of Science and Technology and start PhD. So this is the place for people who want to learn. Yes, so, and continue the research.
All right, how about Arif from the PhD student perspective? What is one piece of short advice you would like to give to students who are still considering if they'd like to apply for a PhD?
Actually, I am completely agree with Professor Wyłomańska. She explained it very nice way, but I definitely would like to say PhD. What is the meaning of this word? In my opinion, P is for patient, H is for hardworking, and D is for dedication. If you have three things inside you and you want to be the future pioneer of scientific research field, then definitely Wrocław University of Science and Technology or Politechnika Wrocławska is definitely a good place for you guys.
All right, last but not least, Professor Krzysztof Walkowiak, the Dean of the Doctoral School, and the very same question to you.
Okay, so don't be afraid, think big, yes? So if you are thinking about this, just submit your documents and try. And the job, the research work is really very interesting because it is not boring. It changes a lot because the world is changing a lot. You can influence the world. You can influence by making some research that will be used by others. Also, the influence on the environment is just by teaching because you prepare future engineers or specialists, and it is also a very nice part of your job. Yes, so you are invited to our doctoral school.
This is great. And I think that makes, as I've said, a nice sum up for our meeting. We're coming close to the 1 hour long story. So this was the open day at the Doctoral School of WUST. And let me introduce our guests once again. So Professor Krzysztof Walkowiak, Dean of the Doctoral School. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Professor Agnieszka Wyłomańska, Vice Dean for Doctoral Students. Thank you very much, Professor Wyłomańska.
Thank you very much.
And of course, our PhD students from Bangladesh specializing in environmental engineering. This is Arif, Eftekhar, Ahmed. Thank you very much, Arif.
And thank you very much to all.
And I am Szymon Baczyński representing Radio Luz. So check us out, 91.6 FM. This is where you can hear me and all my peers talking about music, but not only, of course. And again, this was open day at the Doctoral School of WUST. I had a huge pleasure hosting it, and thank you very much to again to our guests and of course all the participants that were with us. Thank you, and see you next time. Hope we answered all questions you might have regarding the doctoral school, and yeah, hope you're gonna get there. Fingers crossed for all of you guys.